The most popular guy in school, Mason, mentioned he'd never seen a real mummy, so my childhood best friend, Chloe, and all her friends knocked me out. When I came to, I was being wrapped head to toe like a mummy, destined to be hung at the school's front gate. Students walking by laughed and filmed me on their phones. Someone even spit on me. Chloe stood in the crowd, her smile the brightest of all. "Don't be mad, Liam. It's just a joke." Her voice dripped with saccharine sweetness. "Didn't you say you'd do anything for me?" I was silent for a long time. So this was it. 18 years of devotion, and in her eyes, it was all just a punchline. That night, I quietly filed the paperwork to transfer schools. I didn't tell anyone, especially not her. She lost her mind. "Liam, you can't live without me. Why would you transfer? Why don't you love me anymore?" Through a haze of returning consciousness, I heard Chloe's crisp laughter. It was a sound I knew better than my own heartbeat, a constant soundtrack to my life since we were in kindergarten. But this time, her laughter held a sharp edge of excitement I'd never heard before. Hurry up, a few more wraps. Get his arms, too. Yeah, just like that. Make it tight, so it looks good when we hang him up." Something was being wound around my body, rough strips of fabric pulling so tight I could barely breathe. I tried to struggle, but my hands and feet were bound. The helplessness reminded me of an afternoon years ago. We were 7. Chloe was determined to play house, and she tied me to a chair as her patient. She gave me shots and medicine, having the time of her life until her mom came home and found me sobbing, unable to catch my breath. Chloe got a lecture that day and hugged me, crying and apologizing, promising she'd never do anything like that again. But now, I forced my eyes open to the dim light of the gym equipment room. The air was thick with the stench of sweat and dust, turning my stomach. Chloe was crouching beside me, a roll of gauze in her hand, a brilliant smile on her face. She was wearing makeup today, the peach pink eyeshadow Mason liked, and the same shade of lipstick he'd once casually complimented. "You're awake? Great. I was worried you'd miss the best part." Her voice was as sweet as ever, the same tone she used when she wanted me to do her homework. Only this time, it wasn't homework she wanted. She turned to the other girls. "See? I told you the dose was perfect for Liam. Nothing will really happen to him." "You're amazing, Chloe. You even calculated that perfectly." One of them gushed, her voice sycophantic enough to make me sick. Only then did I realize the equipment room was full of people. Almost every girl from our class was here, each one with a look of manic excitement on her face. It was like they were watching a show, and I was the clown hired for their entertainment. "Chloe, what is this?" My voice was a dry rasp, my throat feeling like it was stuffed with cotton. She reached out and patted my cheek, her tone light and breezy. "A little while ago, Mason said he's never seen a real mummy before and really wanted to. You know how he's obsessed with that new Egyptian mythology show on Netflix. So I thought, what's so hard about that? You always listen to me, right? So just do me this one little favor." Mason. It was always Mason, the junior transfer who was now king of the school, captain of the basketball team, straight A student, born with a silver spoon, and a guy Chloe had been obsessed with for a solid year. For him, Chloe learned to wear makeup, went on diets, even changed the way she talked. For him, she had me pass love letters, dig up information, and wait with her by the basketball court until late at night. And now, for one offhand comment he made, she was going. I stared, at a total loss for words. 18 years of friendship, of being by her side, suddenly felt like a pathetic joke. "Are you kidding me? Untie me now." I started to struggle violently, but my limbs were tied down tight. The ropes felt like they'd been chosen for this specific purpose. Impossibly strong, hopelessly secure. Chloe's brow furrowed in that familiar expression of annoyance. "Liam, don't be so cheap. It's just a mummy costume. It's not like you're going to lose a limb. Besides," she went on, her tone becoming righteous, "didn't you say you'd do anything for me? Last year, at your birthday party? You said it in front of the whole class, remember?" Her confidence was staggering, as if my resistance was the truly unreasonable thing here. Of course, I remembered. It was her 17th birthday. She'd had too much to drink and had tearfully asked if I truly loved her. In front of everyone, I'd said I would do anything for Chloe. Everyone had cheered, saying we were a match made in heaven. Looking back now, maybe in everyone's eyes, we were never a match at all. I was just Chloe's accessory. Her tool. Her dog. The other girls chimed in. "Yeah, Liam, don't be a buzzkill. Chloe worked on this plan all afternoon. She even bought all this gauze and rope. It cost her like $100. Don't tell me you're scared. A big guy like you, such a wimp. Seriously, I thought you were supposed to be tough. Why are you freaking out?" I looked at each of their excited faces, and my heart sank into a cold, dark pit. It wasn't just Chloe. To all of them, I wasn't a person. I was just a tool for Chloe to impress Mason, a toy they could play with however they wanted. The wrapping continued. Layer after layer of gauze swaddled me until only my eyes and nose were exposed. The fabric was coarse, scraping painfully against my skin, but the physical pain was nothing compared to the agony in my chest. Chloe, do you remember? I asked suddenly, my voice choked with emotion. In 8th grade, when you were getting bullied, I got into a fight for you and ended up with a suspension. Her hands paused for a fraction of a second before continuing their work. Freshman year, when you had a crush on that senior, I delivered your love note, and he humiliated me in front of his friends. Last winter, when your parents were fighting, you stayed at my house for a month. I gave you my room and slept on the couch. Last month, when you wanted that limited edition handbag, I worked 3 different part-time jobs to save up enough money. Enough! Chloe cut me off, her voice sharp. Liam, what's the point of bringing all that up? We're friends. Isn't it normal for friends to help each other out? Besides, I've been good to you too, she added defensively. Didn't I get you a birthday present? It wasn't as expensive as yours, but I still got you one. And didn't I visit you when you were sick? I only stayed for 10 minutes, but I still came. She trailed off, unable to continue, because even she knew that for years, I was the only one giving. And she was the one who just took, without a second thought. I'd given up struggling, not because I didn't want to fight back, but because I couldn't. There were too many of them. 7 or 8 girls holding me down. I didn't stand a chance. Just like all these years, my devotion was no match for a single glance from Mason. Almost done. Chloe stood up, admiring her masterpiece. Her eyes were sparkling with a light I hadn't seen in a long time. The last time I'd seen it was when Mason had replied to her text, even though all he'd sent was a single keck. Okay, everyone, let's lift him. We're taking him to the front gate. The front gate? My eyes widened, and I shook my head desperately. School had just let out. The entrance would be packed with people. If they hung me there, I would become the laughingstock of the entire school. No, maybe I already was. Liam, the fool who would do anything for Chloe. Don't worry, Chloe said, sensing my panic. She offered a placating smile. It'll just be for a little while. We'll take you down as soon as Mason sees. You spoil me the most, right? You won't help me with this one little thing. Her voice shifted. You've changed, Liam. You never used to say no to me. There was a hint of complaint in her tone, and something else. A threat? Yeah, I had changed. Or more accurately, in this single moment, I had finally seen the truth. The other girls were already hoisting me up. Whoa, he's heavy. Duh, he's 6 feet tall. Of course he's heavy. Chloe, your childhood buddy is in pretty good shape. Too bad his face is so average. He's not good enough for you. I was carried out of the equipment room like a piece of cargo. As we passed through the hallway, the setting sun streamed through the windows. The golden light was beautiful, but my world had gone completely dark. Students we passed pointed and stared. What is that? Is that a person? Holy crap, what are they doing? Quick, take a picture. Post it on TikTok. No one stepped in to stop them. They probably figured it wasn't their business, or maybe they just found it entertaining. In an age where everyone was a spectator, I had become prime content. Just like that, I was carried to the school's main entrance. They found a rope and hoisted me up, tying me to the crossbar over the gate. A true exhibit. No, worse than an exhibit. At least an exhibit wasn't meant to be humiliated. Chloe pulled out her phone and texted someone. A small smile played on her lips as she typed, her eyes shining. Mason, come to the front gate, quick. I have a surprise for you. Winking face, promise you'll love it. Then she stepped back to admire her handiwork. Perfect. Chloe, you're a genius. Mason is going to be so surprised. He might even see you in a whole new light because of this. The girls chattered excitedly around Chloe, as if they'd just completed a magnificent work of art. And I, suspended in midair, was a part of it. By now, a large crowd of onlookers had gathered at the gate. Is this some kind of performance art? Hilarious. Who's the unlucky bastard? Quick, take a picture, post it on your story. Isn't that Liam Miller? I know him. He's Chloe Davis's shadow. It is him. I recognize the eyes. Chloe's ruthless, doing this to her childhood best friend. What do you know? It's her weird way of flirting. Phone flashes went off like strobes. I hung there, suspended, like a monkey in a zoo for everyone to gawk at. No, a monkey at least has some dignity. The gauze was wrapped so tightly that breathing was a struggle. Every ragged breath was a reminder that I was still alive. Alive, but feeling worse than dead. What hurt more were the stares. Mocking, curious, gloating. Not a single person thought this was wrong. Then again, in their eyes, I was already a joke. Liam, the guy who had no self-respect when it came to Chloe. Well, a real-life mummy. A cocky voice cut through the noise. It was Mason. He was wearing his white basketball jersey, his forehead still beaded with sweat from practice. He was practically glowing in the afternoon sun. No wonder Chloe had fallen for him so hard. He stood at the front of the crowd, studying me with an amused curiosity. It was the look someone gives an interesting new toy. That's pretty realistic. Where'd you buy the prop? Chloe immediately sidled up to him, her voice sugary sweet. It's not a prop. It's a real person. It's Liam from our class. He volunteered to help. Volunteered? I wanted to laugh, but I couldn't. Of course, in her version of reality, I was always a volunteer. I volunteered to do her homework, volunteered to take the blame for her, volunteered to give her everything. Mason raised an eyebrow. A real person? Interesting. He stepped closer and poked me. His finger was warm from his workout, but a chill spread through my heart. Hey, buddy in there. How's it feel? I wanted to curse him out, but my mouth was sealed by the gauze. All I could manage were muffled groans. Mason roared with laughter. It actually looks pretty legit. Chloe, you're one of a kind. He turned to her. You've got a real creative streak. What's next? Chloe's eyes lit up like a child who'd just been handed a lollipop. Whatever you want. Anything you want to see. Mason, I can make it happen. We could do a zombie next time, or a vampire. They chatted excitedly, completely forgetting I was still hanging there. The prop had served its purpose. I could be forgotten. Suddenly, someone in the crowd yelled, "Hey, let's all spit on him. See who's got the best aim." When the first glob of spit hit my face, I squeezed my eyes shut. The sticky liquid trickled down the gauze. Nausea, humiliation, rage, every emotion churned inside my chest, finally collapsing into a deep, hollow despair. I heard more laughter. Bullseye. My turn. Ha ha, this is awesome. Someone even started a live stream, narrating for their followers. What's up, everyone? Check out this live-action mummy. Word is, he did it for love. This is what being a simp gets you, folks. Next level. Chloe just stood there. She didn't stop them. She was even smiling right alongside Mason. 18 years. For 18 years, I treated Chloe like she was the center of my universe, ready to do anything for her. But in her eyes, what was I? A dog? No, even a dog gets a pat on the head from its owner. I was just a tool she used to get someone else's attention. A tool without feelings. I don't know how long I was up there. It could have been 10 minutes or an eternity. The crowd eventually started to thin out. I guess torturing someone who can't fight back gets boring after a while. The sun had set, painting the sky in shades of blood red. Just like my heart, which felt like it was bleeding out. Chloe finally remembered me. Okay, let's get him down. She directed a few girls to untie me and unwrap the gauze. As they pulled the layers off, strips of fabric ripped out bits of hair from my skin. It stung, but it was nothing compared to the pain inside. The moment I was free, I collapsed to my knees, gasping for air. I was covered in a foul mixture of spit and sweat. My clothes were soaked through, clinging unpleasantly to my skin. My hands were shaking. I couldn't tell if it was from rage or sorrow. All right, stop being so dramatic. Chloe crouched down, her tone casual. It's not like we actually hurt you. You're overreacting, Liam. It was just a little favor. Mason was really happy. He even said I was creative. You were a big help, you know. She said it all with a proud smile, as if the whole thing was some grand achievement of hers. My suffering didn't even register. I looked up at her. In the twilight, her face was cast in an orange glow. It was the same face I know my whole life, but right now, she looked like a complete stranger. Was this really the Chloe I'd known for 18 years? The girl who would cry if she accidentally stepped on an ant? The girl who said we'd be best friends forever? Her smile was still radiant, as if what had just happened was nothing more than a harmless game. Chloe, my voice was a raw whisper, like it had clawed its way out of hell. In your heart, what am I to you? It was a question I wanted to ask for a long time, but I'd always been too afraid of the answer. She blinked, then laughed. You're my best friend, of course. We grew up together. Who could ever compare to you? That's why I asked you for help. I wouldn't trust anyone else with it. Best friend. I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. So this was her definition of friend. Someone you could use whenever you wanted, humiliate on a whim, and offer up as a tool to someone else. This was her friendship. I'm leaving. I staggered to my feet, ready to go. My legs felt weak, probably from being suspended for so long. But I refused to show any weakness in front of her. Chloe grabbed my arm. Wait, you're not actually mad, are you? Don't be so sensitive. Everyone was just messing around. You're being way too sensitive, Liam. Let's get dinner tonight. My treat as an apology. We can go to that burger joint you love. Her tone was light, as if a meal could erase everything. I shook her hand off and walked away without another word. Behind me, I heard her mutter in frustration. Seriously? You can't even take a joke. Guys are so much more sensitive than girls. And I was even going to have Mason join us. So, the dinner invitation was for Mason too. A bitter smile twisted my lips as I walked faster, desperate to escape that place, to escape her. When I got home, I went straight to the bathroom. I turned the shower on as hot as it would go, letting the scalding water beat down on my skin. I scrubbed myself over and over until my skin was red and sore, but I couldn't wash away the feeling of being violated. It wasn't just physical, it was deeper than that. I scrubbed my face raw, trying to get the feeling of their spit off me. I kept scrubbing until my skin felt like it was about to tear. The person in the mirror was a wreck. Hair plastered to my face, eyes red and swollen, lips pale. Was this the price of loving someone? To lose your dignity, your self-worth, everything? Well, she thought it was all perfectly normal. I leaned against the wall and slid to the floor. The cold tile against my back was a stark, chilling reality. Today's events played on a loop in my head. Chloe's smile, Mason's mockery, the crowd's laughter, and the spit landing on my face. Disgusting. It was all so disgusting. My phone rang, the sound jarringly loud in the small bathroom. A text from Chloe. I didn't look at it right away. I just sat there, numb, until the water turned cold. Finally, I got up, dried off, and put on clean clothes. I picked up the phone and opened the message. Don't be mad anymore. I'll bring you a breakfast burrito tomorrow. Your favorite. Forgive me? Please. I really didn't mean for it to go that far. It's just, Mason brought it up, and I got carried away. You know me, I can be impulsive. I stared at the screen, feeling no desire to reply. Did she really think a breakfast burrito could fix this? Or was my dignity only worth the price of a cheap breakfast? More messages popped up. Liam, what are you doing? Are you seriously still mad? You're being so petty. I already said it was a joke. Everyone thought it was funny. Even Mason said you were a good sport. You were never like this before. No, I wasn't. The old Liam would have smiled and forgiven her for anything. The old Liam would have been there the second she called. The old Liam would have put her happiness above everything else. But today, as I hung there like an object, as spit landed on my face, as everyone laughed while she stood in the crowd, smiling the brightest, I finally understood. My love, my devotion, my dignity. In her eyes, they meant nothing. I turned my phone off, unable to look at her messages any longer. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. The room was silent except for the sound of my own breathing. From outside, a dog barked, a lonely, desolate sound. It matched my mood perfectly. The next day, I didn't go to school. I called in sick and stayed home alone. I kept my phone off, wanted to talk to no one. I needed time to think about our relationship, about my life. After a whole morning of thinking, I made my decision. Transfer. Yes, transfer. Leave this place, leave Chloe, leave this entire suffocating existence behind. Around noon, I opened my laptop and started researching the transfer process. There were a few other decent high schools in the city. They weren't as prestigious as Northwood, but they weren't bad. My parents both work out of state, leaving me to live on my own. The decision to transfer was entirely mine to make. If I wanted to leave, I could anytime. In the afternoon, the doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole and saw Chloe. She was in her school uniform, her hair a little messy as if she'd run all the way here. She held a large bag of stuff and was anxiously pressing the doorbell. Liam, I know you're in there. Open the door. We need to talk. I brought you food and that new comic book you wanted. Liam, please don't be like this. I didn't open the door. I just stood there silently, listening to her voice. She yelled for a long time, her tone shifting from anxious to pleading and finally to the verge of tears. Eventually, she must have gotten tired because I heard her sink to the ground on my porch. Liam, please don't do this, she sobbed. I really know I was wrong. Yesterday was my fault. I shouldn't have treated you like that. I just wanted Mason to notice me so badly. You know I've liked him for so long, but he never even looks at me. I just wanted to make him think I was special. She knows she was wrong. I scoffed. What did she think was wrong? That she used me as a tool, or that she'd humiliated me a little too much? I suspect the only thing she thought was wrong was that I got angry. If I had just taken it like I always did, would she have felt any remorse at all? No. She would have just pushed the boundaries even further next time. The doorbell rang a few more times, then silence. She was gone. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding, but felt an odd pang of loss. 18 years of friendship. Was it really going to end like this? But if it didn't, what was the alternative? To keep being her tool? To keep sacrificing my dignity? No. I couldn't do it anymore. I turned on my phone and went through my photo gallery. It was filled with pictures of us, from kindergarten to now. One from kindergarten, where she'd stolen my toy. I was crying, she was laughing. One from elementary school, where she'd gotten first place on a test and demanded I buy her ice cream. One from middle school, when she'd been caught with her first boyfriend, and I took the fall, writing the disciplinary essay for her. One from this year, after she told me she liked Mason, and I stood with her under the bleachers, watching him practice. In every single photo, she was smiling so brightly. I was always there, right beside her like a loyal guard. But looking closer, her eyes were never on me. They were always looking at the camera, at something in the distance, at someone else. I was just part of the background, an expendable prop. That night, I made my final decision. I opened my laptop and filled out the transfer application. The reason was simple: family matters. The school wouldn't dig too deep as long as the paperwork was in order. I chose a high school on the other side of the city, a 2-hour bus ride from here. Far enough that I would never have to see her again. After submitting the application, I started packing. There wasn't much to pack, just some clothes and essentials. I left behind everything that held memories. That included every gift Chloe had ever given me. The photo album she made by hand, the little notes she wrote me, the bracelet she called our friendship charm. I left it all. If I was going to leave, it had to be a clean break. As I was packing, my phone rang again. An unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. Liam? It's Mason. I froze. Why was he calling me? What do you want? Yeah, so Mason sounded awkward. About yesterday, I feel pretty bad. I know it was Chloe and her friends who did it, but it was because of me. How about I buy you dinner? As an apology. I was silent for a few seconds. No, thanks. Come on, man. I'm serious, he insisted. I know you're pissed. I would be too. That girl Chloe is really something else. To be honest, I never thought she'd actually go that far. Hearing him talk about Chloe left a sour taste in my mouth. She didn't go too far. In her world, I don't matter anyway. Mason sighed. Dude, don't say that. I can tell you're for real about Chloe. But what? But she might really just see you as a friend. Or maybe tool is a better word. I gave a bitter laugh. I know. I figured that out yesterday. Actually, there's something else I want to tell you, Mason said, pausing for a moment. Chloe, how do I put this? You might not know, but she's done a lot of things to try and get my attention. That whole mummy thing yesterday, she planned it out. She started preparing a week ago. Bought the rope, the gauze, even looked up how to tie the knots. She thought if she could make me laugh, I'd start to like her. I chuckled humorlessly. So I was the sacrificial lamb. That's not what I meant, Mason said quickly. I'm just saying her thing for me is just a crush. It's temporary. Once the novelty wears off, she'll come back to you. You guys have known each other forever, after all. Come back to me. And then what? Wait until she found someone new to obsess over, and let her use me as a tool all over again. Mason, thanks for the offer. But some things, once they're broken for good. You can't glue them back together. I hung up and went back to packing. My mind was made up. There was no going back. The next morning, I went to school. I didn't go to class. I went straight to the administration office, submitted my transfer application, and took care of the paperwork. The registrar looked surprised. Transferring? Why? Your grades are excellent. You're doing so well here. We're so close to final exams. Transferring now isn't a good idea. I had my story ready. Some things are going on with my family. I need a change of scenery. I'll work hard to make sure my grades don't slip. The registrar gave me an understanding look. All right, then. I'll process the paperwork for you. It'll take a few days, so just attend classes as usual until then. I nodded and turned to leave. Just as I stepped out of the office, I ran into my homeroom teacher. Liam, what are you doing here? I thought you called in sick today. I told him the truth. Mr. Henderson, I'm planning to transfer. He stared at me, stunned. Transfer? What happened? Is it because of what happened the other day? I looked at him in surprise. I heard all about it, Mr. Henderson said with a sigh. Those girls went too far. I've already spoken to them. Chloe wrote an apology letter, admitting she was the ringleader. It was definitely their fault, but is it really worth transferring over? I thought you and Chloe grew up together, so the school knew. But what did it matter? A reprimand? An apology letter? What could that change? Could turn back time. Could restore my dignity. Sir, it's not just about that. I really need to leave. This place, it feels suffocating. Mr. Henderson wanted to say more, but the bell rang. All right, well, think it over some more. If you need anything, my door is always open. But Liam, I have to say this. Life is long. Don't give up because of one setback. Some relationships, once you let them go, they're gone for good. I thanked him and walked away. As I passed our classroom, I glanced through the window and saw Chloe. She was slumped over her desk, her head buried in her arms. The girl next to her seemed to be comforting her. I tore my eyes away and walked on without looking back. Those tears were coming far too late. For the next few days, I stayed away from school. The transfer was being processed, and going back would have been torture. Chloe tried every way she could to contact me. She used different numbers to call, had classmates pass on messages, and even found my email address. Every message was an apology, an admission of guilt. Liam, I really know I was wrong. I shouldn't have used you as a tool. I shouldn't have let you be humiliated in front of the whole school. I'm an asshole. Yell at me, hit me, whatever you want. But please, don't ignore me. Do you know how empty the world feels without you? We've known each other for 18 years. Are you really going to end it like this? I didn't reply to any of it. It wasn't that I was intentionally giving her the silent treatment. I just truly didn't know what to say. Forgive her. I couldn't. Cut her off completely? That didn't feel quite right either. Fading away quietly seemed like the best option for both of us. On the third night, I finished packing everything. I would get my transfer certificate tomorrow and register at the new school the day after. Everything was set. I was about to turn in early when the doorbell rang again. This time, it wasn't Chloe. It was a few of my classmates. Liam, we know you're in there. Come on out, man, let's talk. It was a few of the guys from class I was friendly with. Not best friends, but we got along okay. I hesitated, then opened the door. Dude, where have you been? Are you ghosting everyone? Mark Peterson said as he walked in. Chloe's losing her mind. She's been crying every day. She asked us to come talk to you. Can't you just be the bigger person and forgive her this one time? I poured them some water. It's not about forgiving her or not. Then what is it about? I thought for a moment. It's about me finally seeing where I stand. Where you stand. In her world, I'm just a tool. Something to be used when she needs it and tossed aside when she doesn't. I am tired. I don't want to live like that anymore. The guys exchanged glances. Mark scratched his head. But you guys have known each other since you were kids. You're going to throw all that away over one incident. Isn't that a little extreme? One incident. To them, maybe that's all it was. A prank, a stupid joke. But for me, it was the final straw. You don't get it, I said, shaking my head. This isn't about one incident. It's about 18 years of them. I've given so much for her and never once gotten any respect in return. She takes my kindness for granted. She treats my love like it's something disposable. I'm just done. After they left, I shut the door, ready for bed. I had just lain down when my phone rang. Unknown number. I ignored it. But the caller was persistent, calling again and again. Annoyed, I finally answered, planning to hang up immediately. But the voice on the other end was Chloe's mom. Liam, honey, it's me, Mrs. Davis. Mrs. Davis. My voice softened. She had always been so good to me, treating me like her own son. When my parents were busy with work, she was often the one who looked after me. Liam, I know what Chloe did was wrong. She knows it too. She's been crying at home every day. She hasn't eaten a proper meal in 3 days. Could you, for my sake, please forgive her this one time? I fell silent. I could have been firm with anyone else. But Mrs. Davis, she had only ever shown me genuine kindness. Mrs. Davis, it's not that I can't forgive her. It's that I'm just tired. For so many years, I've been chasing after her. When she was happy, I was happy. When she was sad, I was sad. But what about her? Has she ever once cared about how I felt? Does she know what I like? What my dreams are? In her eyes, I'm just a tool. A tool without feelings. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. Finally, Mrs. Davis sighed. Liam, I understand. We really have spoiled Chloe too much. Ever since she was little, she's gotten everything she's ever wanted. She's used to being the center of everyone's universe. But honey, you two grew up together. Are you sure you're ready to just let all of that go? Ready? Of course not. 18 years of my life. How could I just cut it out and throw it away? But if I stayed, I would lose even more. I would lose the last shred of self-respect I had left. Mrs. Davis, I'm transferring schools. What? She gasped. Transferring? Why? You're about to graduate. Transferring now. I need a new environment, a fresh start. But this is so sudden. Does Chloe know? No. And Mrs. Davis, please don't tell her. Please, just let me leave quietly. Liam, are you absolutely sure about this? I'm sure. This is the first decision I've ever made just for myself. Hanging up, I knew the secret wouldn't last long. But at least this way, I could leave with some dignity. Without facing her tears, without listening to her apologies. Just disappear, as if I was never there. The next day, I got my transfer certificate without any issues. That afternoon, I went to the new school and completed my enrollment. The campus at Ridgeway High was nice, and the teachers and students seemed friendly. No one knew why I had transferred. To them, I was just a normal new kid. The feeling was surprisingly liberating. I was placed in a senior homeroom. The teacher was a kind-looking middle-aged woman. Welcome, Liam. If you need anything at all, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you, Ms. Albright. Your academic record is excellent. Keep up the good work. With college applications just around the corner, don't let the transfer set you back. I nodded and took my assigned seat. It It was by the window, with a view of the sycamore trees outside. The sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting beautiful, dappled shadows on my desk. There was no Chloe here. No Mason. No mocking laughter. There was only me. A brand new me. After school, I rented a small apartment nearby. It was basic, but it was enough for one person. After unpacking, I sat by the window, lost in thought. A new life was starting. So why did I still feel so empty? I guess I was just used to having her around. Used to her whims, her smile, everything about her. Even if it was all built on my own pain. My phone buzzed. It was a text from a new classmate, asking if I wanted to join a study group over the weekend. I texted back, sure. Then I opened my photo gallery, intending to delete everything related to Chloe. The pictures, the chat logs, the short poems I'd written for her in my notes app. My thumb hovered over the delete button for a long time. In the end, I couldn't do it. I'd keep them as a reminder to never make the same mistake again. A week went by. I started to settle into life at Ridgeway. The pace here was slower than at Northwood, the pressure less intense. Everyone was focused on their finals and college applications. There wasn't time for drama. I made a few new friends. We ate lunch together, studied together, and debated practice problems. It was simple and fulfilling. No one treated me like a tool. No one took me for granted. It felt good to be respected. One evening during study hall, I was working on a calculus problem when my phone started vibrating uncontrollably. Over a dozen missed calls, all from unknown numbers, and a flood of text messages. I frowned and opened them. They were all from my old classmates at Northwood. Holy shit, Liam, you actually transferred? Chloe just found out. She had a total meltdown. She's at the front gate right now, crying her eyes out. Dude, that's cold. You left without saying a word. Chloe's completely losing it. Someone sent a video. In it, Chloe was sitting on the steps of Northwood's front entrance, hugging her knees, sobbing uncontrollably. Her hair was a mess, her uniform wrinkled. The usual put-together girl was gone. A crowd had formed around her, people trying to comfort her. She didn't seem to hear them, just kept crying. Liam, Liam. Over and over, she repeated my name between ragged breaths. Her voice was raw, as if she was about to cough up a lung. How could he just leave without saying goodbye? I was wrong. I was so wrong. Please come back. Please. I watched for a few seconds, then closed the video. For a brief moment, I felt a pang of pity. But it was only for a moment. Her pain right now wasn't even a tenth of what I'd felt that day. At least she still had her dignity. At least no one was spitting on her. At least she was surrounded by people trying to console her, not being hung up like an object of ridicule. I put my phone away and went back to my work. My new friend next to me asked, "Everything okay? You look serious." "It's nothing. Just some messages from kids at my old school." "Oh, you missed them?" "No," I said. "Not at all." And I meant it. That place, those people, they were a past I wanted to forget. But Chloe found me. I don't know how she did it, but she found out where my new school was. One day at noon, I had just finished lunch and was heading back to class. I turned a corner and saw her standing at the cafeteria entrance. She had lost a lot of weight. Her cheekbones jutted out sharply. Her face was pale, as if she'd been seriously ill. Her eyes were red and swollen, a clear sign she'd been crying for a long time. The moment she saw me, fresh tears welled up and spilled down her cheeks. "Liam." Her voice was a dry, broken rasp. I stopped, rooted to the spot. A storm of conflicting emotions brewed inside me. I didn't know what to say. She staggered toward me, reaching for my hand. "Liam, I finally found you. Do you have any idea how hard I looked? I asked everyone. I went to every school I could think of. I took a step back, avoiding her touch. What are you doing here?" My voice was calm, so calm it surprised even me. I came to find you," she choked out, her words broken by sobs. "Why did you transfer? Why didn't you tell me? Why would you do this to me?" A barrage of questions, each one laced with tears. I almost found it funny. "Chloe, what right do you have to ask me why?" She froze, the tears falling faster. "But we're best friends, aren't we?" "Friends?" I let out a cold laugh. "Is that what you call it? Using your friend as a tool to impress someone else? Letting your friend be publicly shamed and humiliated? Is it your idea of friendship?" She shook her head violently. "No, that's not what I meant. I just wanted Mason to be happy. I didn't think it would turn out like that. I really didn't think." "So what?" I stared at her. "Because you didn't think I deserved what happened. Because you wanted to make Mason happy, I deserve to be strung up like a freak show for everyone to gawk at. Do you know what I was thinking that day, Chloe? When I was hanging up there." She stopped talking, her tears now silent streams. The tears poured down her face like a broken dam, unstoppable. I was thinking, what did I do wrong? I continued, my voice low but steady. What did I do to deserve being treated like that? And then I realized, my only mistake was loving you too much. Chloe's entire body jolted as if struck by lightning. She stared at me, her eyes wide with shock, disbelief, and was that fear? Loving you so much that I lost myself. I lost my dignity. Loving you so much that in your eyes, I wasn't even a person anymore. Just a thing you could use whenever you wanted. A tool with no feelings. A toy you could throw away. So I decided to stop. Since you don't need my love, just a tool, I figured I should just go. You can find someone else to be your tool. In your eyes, anyone will do, right? Saying those words felt like setting down a 1,000-pound weight I'd been carrying for years. The truth was finally out. Chloe looked like she was about to collapse. She swayed on her feet, her body trembling. No, it's not like that. I never thought of you as a tool. You're the most important person to me. You've always been the most important person to me. The most important person? I laughed. You have a pretty special way of treating the most important person in your life. You can humiliate them. You can use them. Is that what you call love? Liam, I was wrong. I was so wrong. She finally admitted it, with no excuses, no justifications. Please forgive me. Can we start over? Please? I promise. I will never, ever treat you like that again. I swear. She raised her hand, making a solemn vow, like a little kid who'd been caught doing something wrong. But some things, once they're broken, can't be fixed. The cracks will always be there. It's too late, Chloe. No, it's not too late, she pleaded, shaking her head desperately. We still have time. So much time. We can take it slow. Just come back, please. Come back to me. Please. And then she knelt. Right there at the entrance to the crowded school cafeteria, she got on her knees. Students walking by started to stare, whispering to each other. But she didn't care. Her eyes, filled with desperation, were locked on me. I took a deep breath. Chloe, get up. No, not until you forgive me. You're just making me hate you more. That sentence was like a knife, twisting deep into her heart. Her face went even paler, and her lips began to tremble. Get up, I repeated, my voice hard. She slowly, shakily, pushed herself back to her feet. Chloe, I have a new life now. I like it here. The people are nice. No one treats me like a tool. I'm happy. So, please stop coming here. Let's just leave each other alone. With that, I turned and walked away. Behind me, I heard her heart-wrenching screams. Liam, Liam, you can't do this to me. You promised you would always be there for me. You promised. I didn't look back. Yes, I had promised that. But that was the old Liam. The Liam standing here now just wanted to live for himself. After that, time moved quickly, and soon it was time for final exams. I did well in my new school and got into my first-choice university. Computer science, the major I'd always wanted. I heard very little about Chloe after that day. Gradually, I began to forget. It was all over. I had started a new life.